Hey guys, welcome back to the Hoosier Garage. And we're getting ready to cut up the 72 Duster. It's too far gone, no title, a lot of bang up, rust up, all kinds of stuff going on with this car. Nothing left really of it. We got some bolts, nuts, accessories, clips, brackets, battery trays, a door, a good door. We got quite a bit of sheet metal that we can save, and that's going to be the main objective tomorrow. Is also just cutting it all up. So I'm going to show you what we got going on here and what's going to try to speed us up, get it done, and get it out of here. So if you're looking at this and wondering what the stripes and the colors are, the green is areas that we have already determined, okay, we need to keep. So so we don't have to keep rehashing what we are trying to do with all this different stuff here. So we know we need these because both sides, it's basically, we'll just take this whole piece out because right here is what we need, because on our 72 that we have, those areas are rotted out. Both sides, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the whole piece out since it's available. Why not? So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep this whole inner fender, which is in pretty good shape, and there's a Z-bar bracket down there. We're going to keep that. We're going to cut it out, just the whole bracket around it. We're going to keep this windshield rail, the top half and the sides. We're going to cut these out because 72 that we got needs both sides. We're going to try to save as much of that rocker panel over there as possible, but we'll see. We don't really need it, but we'll try to save it. Up here, we need these corners. This is all rotted out on our other one. It's just dirt here. Same thing here. So we're just going to cut out a nice generous area. We're also going to try to save these mounting brackets for the 72 taillights, 72 only. We're going to keep this whole thing because it's good shape. Mechanism, all that, so we're going to slice it here, and when we say slice it here, that's what the yellow designates. Yellow designates what we know that we're going to cut, where we're going to cut it. So you can see the differentiation there. They don't have the key to this, but I want to save the filler neck, and so we'll just have to cut it out and grind the screws off, and that's already loose down there, so we'll just pull it out. But the trunk, we got all this here. That's our cut line. This is beyond the lap weld. Here's the lap weld. This is the part we want to keep from here this way. So we're going to cut into this. We're going to cut up into the wheel well, which has got some rot. We do have a bit of rot here on the trunk pan, but that could be something we could possibly fix. We won't know until we get it all out and decide whether we want to keep this trunk and make it salvageable. I do know that the spare tire well here will need to be replaced. And they do make that part, but that's just up in the air. We're going to go ahead and cut it out. That extension's bad there. This one is actually good. If anything, that extension will save us on the other car. We'll just have to trim everything off of it. That's what you got to pay for that. And we're going to just cut this whole area off with it so we can clear that extension. These are just cut marks. We're going to cut basically here all the way across the roof, and probably by the time we're done, the whole car will be at least cut in half. We'll just see how we feel. Sometimes that seems kind of ambitious, and it is. And we just have a little scrap pile by the time we're done. And you can see where we're going to cut here to save the inner fender, because the inner fender stops at this seam right here, all the way down. And this piece here is what you're looking at right here. So it's not a big deal. Usually they're not, unless it's like right here or something. So we're just going to chop it down through there. So we're just going to get into it, and hope you enjoy what you see.
Okay, so we got us a brand new reciprocating saw, which I've been needing one for years for various projects, but now was the time I really absolutely needed it. It's a nice, bright, warm day. I was hoping for some overcast. It's the beginning of fall, and I was hoping for that as well. So it's going to be a little sticky today. We got a couple challenges. One of them being that our camera, we're not using our traditional camera we've been using. I'm actually using my phone, which isn't the greatest either at this point. It likes to shut off. The camera won't charge. I went ahead and ordered a GoPro on the way, so one benefit to this is in the future you're going to have a lot better quality imagery. So win-win, I guess, on that one, but lose-lose today on this stuff. So I'm gonna start cutting this part off first, kind of in the back, and then the real heavy stuff, like back where the car, if it starts splitting in half, we'll try to do that as last as possible. So stay tuned for that. Smells like Bondo. right in there. Some of these spots we might have to get a chisel and break a hole in it, like a long hole in it first, so we can stick this in. Down there I had a rust hole, I just slipped it in there and sliced on through, but this one, we'll see. We'll see. So I just took this chisel here, pretty good size, and up here inside the trunk, I actually just punched it through right there, and then our blade was able to fit in there and just slice it right across there. This is pretty loose too. Let me jump back up there. Get down there. Technically forced to save that trunk floor and the drop-off extension.
we'll have to cut it across here and probably do some cutting up here in this wheel well. Go across. We'll save some of the bottom edge of that in case we need it. And, go across that way, but we'll try to section it up a little bit at a time. So this side's off here. There it is over there. This is about to come off, like I said. So yeah, not terribly hard, just some, you gotta think though, make sure you're not cutting too much or too into something that you need. Save you some work later. And this is a good place to show you how the chisel deal works. If you're wondering about this, we can't get this cap off, there's no key. We'll have to basically remove everything, the screws and all that stuff, dissect it, all that fun stuff. But you can drill a couple holes, or you can take your chisel, make sure there's nothing on the other side what there's not, and we'll just be generous. Also, you can use a cutting wheel, but it's got one power tool hooked up. There's nothing holding all this together. Yep. And we'll just have to cut these screws off. A lot of this stuff will separate, then we can remove this. We'll have to break a lot of it apart, but that's okay. Alright, so I've been spending a little time, mainly due to our camera situation being a little inconvenient, cutting the back part of the beyond the lap weld up the trunk floor. I got this section off here, went across the wheel wells on both sides, and went ahead and cut the frame rails. But before I did that, I wanted to make sure that I busted the connections loose on the rear leaf springs. That just kind of gives a little more give, because if you didn't, they would probably want to jump up on you. They are 6-cylinder springs, so they're pretty light and they're probably worn out, so no big deal there. Either way, we pretty much got it broken in half there, or at least in a third. So it's actually still sitting on the springs. Spot it looks like a cut, but yeah, there's one little spot that needs cut. Hopefully all this extra work to get this trunk floor out is worth it, even though we have some issues with some of it, like the bottom of the wheel well, with the spare tire. And we've got some, areas here and up on the front of this extension, but we'll cut it out, and if it's something we don't want, at least we say we tried, and we won't regret thinking, wonder if. Woo, okay, long time no film since the last segment. Look, it got nice and cloudy. It's breezy, it feels great, especially when you've been sweating. This is the 7 1/4 rear end, which is really of no automotive use to me, really. But what I'm thinking of doing with it is making a kind of like a large wheelbarrow and making the box out of wood, and it would use the spring mounting points and use it to move big stuff around if I need to. Maybe not, I don't know, it's just an idea. Might be kind of cool, might not. There's the trunk floor, there's the other pieces. I went ahead and cut the front windshield channel out, at least the upper portion of it. And that's just a piece of lower quarter panel, which is junk. Here's what we got here. We're slicing and dicing. So again, the green is things that we need to cut out. So I've already got the cut started here on this. We have to kind of figure out how to get in there. I might just chop the whole section out if we can. Same thing on that side. And then we got the seat belt mounts back here. That curvature with the bolt in it. Both sides, I need them on mine. So we're gonna slice those out. This happens to have the bucket seat plate brackets. We can actually make a template of these and make a bunch of them if we want, and, you know, because everybody's always buying them. I'm like, well, it's just a piece of heavy gauge steel with a notch in it and a couple holes, so we can make a pattern, cut those out, use them as that. And of course this front apron, and we're going to need these guys especially for ours. The apron itself we will not need, but we'd like to preserve it. It doesn't have any rust through really on it, just this one little tab torn. Now that side there, they usually rot right there first. The battery tray was rotted down here. I cut that little piece out because I'm going to need it. We're going to get that Z-bar link out of there, that ball stud, and probably cut that grill out. A lot of this I went over, but it's just really starting to disintegrate now. So yeah, I'm going to take a lunch break, a late lunch break, and then get back to work on it. So as you see, the sun is getting on the other side of this whole video. We've got a lot more cut out, and we still have a little bit to do. I got the apron cut off, and I just went ahead and chopped the frame rail off with it, and we got the piece that corresponds here with the other side. We just need to trim it out. Right here, there's a like a bead weld right here. We're gonna have to snap that loose, and we can kind of trim the the apron out, fix it up, and somebody can use it for their project. This one's cut out, that's cut out. That one on that side, as I was cutting away at it, the area that I needed on the other car started dissolving here, so I figure, well, that ain't no good. Right here was one of the exhaust hangers. And the reason I cut that out is typically, unless you have a 340 car, you're only going to have one exhaust hanger up there. This way you can take it and use it as a secondary one on the other side and run a true dual exhaust, and it will be kind of a factory situation. So minus this brake bracket here, this piece right here is what hangs that way, I believe, and then your exhaust hangs into this. This welds onto the body, so you can have a legitimate factory looking situation there to go on this side, because you see here they put just a generic strap on there, and they even had one on that side. They didn't know to use that bracket. So these here are a bit of a challenge, because this rocker panel on these, to make them unibody, they go all the way through, even through the quarter panel, and they basically end right here. Well, you're cutting through a boxed area, and a lot of that boxed area is on the inside of the substructure here. So what I have over there, I'll walk over to it and show you. I have almost 360 degrees cut out on the back side here, all the way around underneath to about there, but then we get into the boxed area there. Yeah, right there. It's hard to see on the camera. Right there, So I probably have to do, I can come, since this ain't no good, bust the hole in here, cut it straight down so it doesn't deflect my blade, which can be kind of dangerous, a little painful at times. So if that works, then we'll have to try it over on that side and then do the whole slice cut around. Other than that, kind of done doing it really, but here's what we got, our little collection here. So I'm gonna go on through here, try to get these cut out, and I'm not sure if I'll cut that out or not. I'm kind of getting done with it for the day. Oh, I got to cut out the Z-bar bell crank there because it's on a bracket. You want to save the bracket in case you swap it over. And our friend that donated this, he took the 4-speed, 3-speed hump. He might need this, so I got to make sure he needs it. So if you don't, we'll offer it to somebody. Looks like somebody welded it on there. I don't know what happened. Maybe if it was original. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the manual cars that much, real. I just never have had much contact with them. But if this was a 3-speed car, I don't know. Maybe it had a different situation. They ran a 4-speed in here and they needed that, so they welded it. Or if it was a 3-4-speed thing, then maybe it broke and they had to weld it in. So maybe some of y'all out there know about that much more than I do. I've always had automatic cars. I don't really run into these too much. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna get working again. So here it is. Decided to go ahead and stop there. I got that piece cut back there. So there's some useful stuff here. Not a whole lot left that was on this car, but this will do. This will do. Pretty light at this point. I'm gonna clean my tools up. We're gonna sweep this off, get all this stuff out of the way. We got some stuff to work on there and some stuff that we'll just put back in the other car until we get around to it after the van gets up and going. And so I'm gonna load some other steel, some scrap steel up, like from the van, you know, all that stuff we've cut off. And I got a good collection of stuff back there. I'm gonna go ahead and toss on there, and then he's gonna go take this to the scrapper, and whatever they give him for the weight, he can just have that. And I know it's not a lot, but he can collect that for the good deed he did of bringing it over here. And then we can get some more room there in the back to store some stuff. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this. I know it's kind of crazy, just kind of a weird situation cutting up a car, but you know, if you like this, you like all our projects, everything we got going on, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, be sure to comment if you got something to say. So Hoosier Garage, check us out next time.